Howdy, everybody in YouTube land. When it rains, it pours. So we have yet another CD-ROM drive in here for repair. This one appears to be a NEC based CD-ROM, which surprisingly enough, that's where this enclosure went to. I've had this enclosure since 98, I want to say, 99. I got it from the thrift store. The original drive had died, so I was just kind of using it as an enclosure. And, well, the lid got left behind when I moved in during a house foreclosure and all that. Anyways, but I still have that enclosure, which is ironic how the NEC drive. Anyways, so this one, again, is unknown. I do not know what's wrong with it. I'm going to assume it's going to be the same as all the other drives, but you never know. It's a CDR-84. But there's no date code when it was manufactured. No way that's accurate. Although that would be interesting if it was. I/O bus. Not even an indicator that it's a SCSI bus. But I'm sure it is. Man, this is a hefty drive. So, looks like it may have been attempted to take apart before. Other than that, I don't know. So, why don't we put this in the enclosure and see what it does. Does it work or does it not? Let's plug this in up here. Alright, power on. Ugh, you need both hands. Of course you need both hands. Why wouldn't you need both hands? Alright, let's see what happens. Picked it up. Kinda. Yeah, I mean, it picked it up immediately, so, Well, I think I'm going to have to grab the computer and plug it in and see what this thing actually does. Because it sounds like it's working. Alright, so I got it hooked up into the enclosure, which unfortunately I had to fold the cable around to get it fit because this is backwards. But one thing I've noticed is, well, my original 165, the hinges blew apart on me, even though I've already took care of that once. It didn't hold. So I had to pull out the 180. Now the 180 has been pulled out. But it's not seeing the drive on the bus at all, which is strange. So then I go and take this guy apart and then, put it in here. Yeah, it picks up nearly instantly, but if it's not seeing the drive on the bus, we're not going to get anywhere. So it's definitely strange on this one, because what's weird is it will query this when I first start the machine. Like if I turn this machine off and restart it, which I'll do that right now, this thing will pick up. Hear it? Picked right up. So I know it can see it. It can see the bus, but it doesn't, it doesn't see the drive as far as anything further than that. So this is getting more and more strange. So I'm going to wait for this to start up, and I'm going to pull up a SCSI probe and see if that detects the drive. Alright, so let's see. Did I put SCSI probe in the control panels? Probably not. No. So perhaps it's in here. There it is. But it's not in a mount. Oh, Lord. Okay. Crap. No, I didn't put it. I guess I didn't extract. Oh, no, it's there. No, it's not. Let's see, SCSI probe. It's not telling me the bus is unterminated or anything like that. But it does not see the CD-ROM drive at all. Huh. Yeah, that's an issue. So this guy's got to come apart. We got to find out what's going on in there. Because that's not good. Alright, now that I got it apart, which had to take the front faceplate off so I can hinge this board out. A quick look at this. It's a mixture of NEC and Sony parts. Right, we have some NEC parts in here, but we've also got Sony. The servo mechanism is Sony. And if I look at the laser head assembly, guess what? It's Sony. So NEC may have made the drive, but they used a Sony design. So this is like a hybrid. It's weird. But look at the capacitor farm in there. So, yeah. But it looks like it's made in the 93, 94 time period. But here's what's amazing to me, and this doesn't happen every day. There are no signs of leakage that I can see visibly on the board. I am honestly amazed. 100% amazed. That's the audio board. So this does the DAC and amplification and all of that stuff. Because that's the audio output jack here in the back. But aside from that, we've got voltage regulators and all this other stuff in here. We got the ROM, the SCSI interface IC from Western Design Corporation, or it could be Western Digital. Weird. Okay, so next thing to do is to potentially see if I can't find the information online for this to make sure the SCSI ID settings are right or wrong or right or whatever. Because if this is set for SCSI ID 0, well, that explains why it's not working. Because SCSI ID 0 is what the hard drive is set at on that Macintosh. So that's important. So I'm going to check that right quick. But other than that, it's kind of a neat machine. There's a PCB here. I don't know if there's a secondary circuit board under there. I can't tell. There is there. Oh yeah, that circuit board runs all the way up and around. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, that is most definitely a Sony mechanism. And this got a Sony servo circuit. But everything else is NEC. Go figure. Alright, so I found this website on stason.org or whatever. It has the settings for this particular drive. And if we look at the jumper bank, switch number 4 is turned on, but all the other ones are off. So let's see what we got. Switch 4 is parity on. Okay, so it is on. This is off and off as it's supposed to be. 1, 2, and 3, off, off. Okay, so yeah, it's set for drive 0. That ain't gonna work. Alright, that makes sense. So, we're gonna have to, let's see. I want SCSI ID 3. So, 1 and 2 have to be on, but 3 is off. So, that means we have to turn on 1 and 2 and leave 3 off. That makes sense. Alright, now we're going to hook this guy back up and we'll try it again. I'm not seeing any signs of capacitor leakage. I'll change them anyways because it's the same age as the previous drive I just did. So, it's likely a problem. And if not, it will be because it's made in the same era. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do, let's see. 1992, 92, 92, 91, 91, 92, 91. This might be earlier. 91, 92. Yeah, this actually might be a 92. 91. Nope. Yeah, up here. 91. So yeah, this sucker might be 92, or mid 92, early to mid 92, which is kind of puts it right smack dab in the leaky capacitor era. So I am honestly surprised it has not happened. Explains why it spins right up. Now these, I think these are the known series of problematic. Yeah, so, and none of these have leaked either, so, okay, well, let me, get this guy slowly brought back right side up. It's gonna be fun getting it back in here, because it has to go up and under, like that. Alright. So, for grins and shiggles, I'm gonna go ahead and just put a screw in here, so we don't have a problem. I'll just randomly put one right there. Actually, I don't even know if that's the right one, but for our testing purposes, it does not matter. That'll stop that from sliding around. Okay, so let's get this back together and let's try this thing again, now that we have the right SCSI ID set. Yeah, now that we have the right dang SCSI ID, let's see if it behaves any different. So, let's see. I can hear the servo better. Question is, do we have any mount? Doesn't look like it. Oh, hey, we got CD-ROM. Let's turn it on. Okay. NEC CD-ROM. All right. Okay. Up, 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 up. Doing something. Wow. It's actually working. Wow. Okay, yeah, I didn't figure we had a problem here. Oh no. That's wrong. Whoa. Yeah, we actually we do have a problem. Did you hear that? That servo lost way out of control. That servo went way out of control. This thing might actually have capacitor issues even though they're not visible. Yeah, I mean, it's working. Let's eject that. Huh. Strange. Alright, so I'm in the process of taking this guy further apart to replace the capacitors. Now, I said I didn't see any signs of leakage, but I look closer to this audio board. Look at this. It's definitely there. So, it's just starting. So, we're going to go ahead and just change them all. I got some new caps over here. Had to get these special ones to fit in here because of height restrictions, but yep, so we're going to pull all this apart and slowly get the capacitors replaced. Now, this board here was a little fiddly to get out. I had to take this rear panel off, which is right there, so I could just kind of like snake it out and pull it out. Otherwise, I'd have to cut these zip ties, which I really didn't want to do. But I'm definitely going to have to cut this one regardless, because I got to get that ribbon here removed. But I also have to remove this one as well. Now, these are two pieces, so you want to make sure you get them in the right order, because you don't want to like take this one and plug it in over here. You'll fry things. So just pay attention to how these come out. So that is now out of the way. I don't know what the servo board has on it as far as caps are concerned. I know there's some down there because I see a PCB, so I'm going to have to probably pop that off. I don't know if that's actually going to gain me anything, but alright, we're going to proceed on. So after pulling the caps, even though on the top side it didn't show any evidence of leaking, but after I pulled the surface mount ones, there's some crusty pins down here, so they were just starting to leak. And as far as the through hole is concerned, definitely this one. You can see the crusty pin, the ground pin right there. So that one was just going. But these bigger ones, these what are the Elna M series? I don't know. They're not showing any signs, but the little ones definitely are, and these surface mount ones are. So they all gotta go. So we're gonna keep on plugging away, and then after I do that, then I'm going to move over here to this audio board here, which is definitely showing signs of leaking. That's not why my servo is having a problem. These are likely why my servo is having a problem, but that's going to be an issue, especially if you want to listen to music, because that's your audio board. And there we go. So I got all the new caps in here now. This was a very interesting spot to get to. Yeah. Anyways, that's done. I got the shield reinstalled because that shield was in my way. New caps. And this board here, I didn't go surface mount the whole way because I didn't have them. And plus, these CD-ROM drives are not worth a hell of a whole lot anyways, especially ones that are not like Apple brand or anything. So I did this as cheaply as possible with what I had on hand. And yeah, we're all good now. So that should work. I'm going to go ahead and get it put back together, and hopefully the little weird servo glitch that keeps happening will go away. Alright, here we go. So we're booting up. And oh yeah, the spindle didn't have any fluid-filled electrolytics. It had TANTs, so I just left them in there. So here we go. Does it work or does it not? That picked up fairly instantly. Alright, so I gotta wait for this thing to fully start up so we can check all of that out. Hopefully everything works fine with that. Alright, let's see if it mounts. Hopefully it does. Yep, I get a light. Oh. Yeah, no, that didn't solve my servo problem. If anything, it made it worse. Yeah, that was an interesting failure mode. Huh. Then again, all the boards are exposed. I don't have any of the screws in or anything like that, so perhaps that's why. Because I bet if I get my hand close to this laser... Yeah. Yeah, hear that? It does not like being unshielded. Alright. So, just to roll everything out, I'm going to clean the laser lens because I forgot to do that. And I'm going to put all the shields back on, and we're going to try this again. Because if this being exposed, being an issue, could very well do it. Alright, now that we're booted up again, let's see if it still misbehaves. Yep, it still does. Yeah, this is being weird. Yeah, it's got a servo issue, for sure. I'll have to try pressed disc and see if it happens with an actual factory CD. Now I have it flipped over upside down with the cover off, which allows me to get the cables and everything right side up. So it's being detected, but the good news is, the good news about all of this is, at least the laser assembly, the adjustment screw is right there. So I can simply just, get in there and try to adjust it as best as I possibly can. Just like that. The servo is just kind of grumbly. It's not right. It's certainly acting like the laser is on the weak side, so I might have to get in there and adjust it a little bit, which is not a big deal. My adjustment tool's right here. Now, all I'm doing is delaying the inevitable. It's because if the laser is just a little bit too on the weak side, kicking that power level up will bring the laser up so it works properly, but it eventually will just wear out faster. So you're not going to be able to use this drive a lot, but at least you'll be able to use it. See, look at it. It just freaked out. Yeah, it's very not right. So I'm going to adjust this guy. Now, I've been tinkering with this thing for a while, and on regular CDs, it's fine for the most part, but on CDRs, it wants to lose spindle lock somewhere down here. Like if it's reading and up in here, it's fine, but as soon as it gets back here, it loses spindle lock sometimes, and sometimes it'll regain it, sometimes not. I've gotten it a lot better by tweaking the power level on the laser just ever so slightly. If you go too far, it'll just lose lock all the time in either direction. So there's literally a sweet spot. So it's pretty good as it is. Now, if I bump this thing off track on purpose, it should bring itself back. But it doesn't. See, there it goes. It'll lose spindle lock sometimes. It'll come right back, but it's not supposed to lose spindle lock. Yeah, see what's happening here? Yeah, there it goes. But that's not normal. The spindle servo is there's an issue with the spindle servo, so I'm wondering, I got to figure out where it is, because I'm wondering if the PLL adjustment is ever so slightly off on the PLL or on the spindle servo, because it's not a laser issue. That's a spindle servo issue. Because sometimes it'll spin backwards. That's how I know it's a spindle servo issue. So the pulse coming off the photodiodes into the servo processor is used to keep this thing locked at a steady speed. And if the pulse coming off of this is wrong, or if the set point's wrong, it'll do that. Okay, do you see that? That's what it's supposed to do. That's normal. But that's not. Yeah, that's not normal. So we've got a spindle servo issue that we've got to take a look at. All right, now with a pressed CD in place, see that? It knows. It knows the spindle is not at the right speed, so it will respeed it. That's normal. That's what it's supposed to do. It wanted to race out of control, but it caught itself instantly. So, must be a CDR related thing. It just does not like CDRs, which I'm not surprised with how old this drive is. Alright, now we have another pressed CD that's idling on this side of it, like the other CDR was. So let's see what happens now. That's expected behavior. So that works. Yep, that's normal. Alright, so it just doesn't like CDRs. So either the laser is just on the threshold, or it's just the fact the reflectivity of the CDR isn't quite enough for the spindle servo to stay locked. Yeah, that's normal. So let's eject this disc and seat it back in here. It's working exactly as it should. Yeah, so just opening a folder. It probably won't run because it's going to want 256 colors. Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay, so anyways, yeah, so... Ooh. Maybe not. Ooh, yeah, no. Nope. There, yeah, that servo is unstable. I feel like I'm all over the place with this thing. There's some weird stability issue with that servo.
The beams scan the screen from left to right and from top to bottom. The intensity of each pixel's glow depends on the strength of the beam striking it. Mixing different intensities of red, green, and blue can provide as many as 16 million different colors.
Alright, well, before I can continue troubleshooting, I spotted one problem right away that I need to take care of. That guy's in there backwards. Surprised it hasn't gone boom yet. It looks like it's about ready to. Whew, yeah, because you can see that guy bulged out compared to the rest of them. So that is a problem. That could explain the intermittent servo, why it works sometimes and not the other. Have a hard time believing that, but you never know. So that's got to be replaced with another one. But then there's my servo. This is my focus tracking, EFM amplifiers, and all of that there. And those are my adjustments, which I'm not going to mess with right now. What I'm looking for, though, is I'm looking for the spindle servo, because that is where my biggest issues lie, I think, besides that. Alright, so I think we're finally there now.
As the printhead moves along a rail, different combinations of pins strike
So,
to make the dot pattern of characters on the paper.
So what I've done is, I'm going to close that. The only way to use this software on this machine is to physically go in here and anyways, so the only way to physically do it is to go in here and play the files individually, but squirrel. So what I had to do was I had to adjust the tracking error just ever so slightly, and now it's okay. I mean, it'll still drop out sometimes because I think the laser is just weak. It'll still drop out sometimes, but it'll catch right back up and keep going, and it won't overspeed completely out of control. And it normally does it when it's seeking, so that just tells me that it's a tracking issue. So I adjusted that, and what I had to do was, this service manual for this drive does not exist as usual, so I pulled up the data sheets of these chips which do exist, and this is the servo network right here, and that one is the tracking adjustment. So that's what I've done, is adjusted that, and everything works fine.
The screen from left to right and from top to bottom. The intensity of each pixel's glow depends on the strength of the beam strike.
Okay, so all right, that seems to be working. It's working on those discs. It's working with, you know, CDRs and all that stuff. So I think we're going to be okay. I'm going to go ahead and just put this thing back together. I also replaced that capacitor. Yeah, so I want to put this thing together and let it run for a bit and see what we have going. But it seems to be working fairly well. So everything's fine. As far as I can tell, it's running programs off the CD. Yeah, I'm trying to find something to move that laser across. the disk, its surface itself. No. Microsoft Word demo. Interesting. I didn't know they made a Word demo. Huh. Learn something new every day. Demonstration version, not for sale. Word 5. Huh. That's kind of cool, actually. But yeah, I mean, I'm not getting any trouble out of it. It's working fine now. So I think it just needed a slight tweak in the tracking error. Because we have a focus error, we have a tracking error, then we have focus and tracking offset over here. So yeah, that's the only adjustments we have. But what we do not have is there's adjustment back here, but I haven't touched it. Because these are the servo amplifiers back here, which is where all those capacitors were that was causing me problems, because I bet some of these were leaking. Well, I knew a couple of them were, and it was affecting the servo. So there could be stray capacitances in the board, ever so slightly changing things, and now I have to compensate for it because, like I said, it leaked. So anyways, I'm just theorizing at this moment. I don't know, but it shouldn't have needed an adjustment like that, but it did. And I think we have it now, so I'm going to keep going with this thing. There's like this cool little sample document that it comes with. Let's see. Select the data by clicking and dragging across from cell C4. Okay. I don't know. Anyways. It's kind of neat. Can't save it. Alright, we're back up and running with it all put together now. It's doing its thing. But it still will lose lock every once in a while. And the thing is, I can keep playing with it and playing with it and playing with it and sink in, days worth of labor into a drive that's probably worth $50, right? So eventually there comes a point where you just have to call it good enough to where it's working enough to where you could use it, you could play CDs, you can do whatever you want with it. It's never going to be perfect, because the thing is, we're missing the service manual, which has the waveform charts for hooking up an oscilloscope, along with the procedures on which voltage levels things are supposed to be when you adjust it, right? We don't have that data, so we can't do that. And plus, that's usually taken with a specialized test CD you're supposed to put in there. Same thing with, stereo CD players for, music stuff. So there's only so much you can do. We can get it best case scenario, but it's never, ever going to be 100% perfect. But I think we're good enough. So I'm just going to leave it for here and just let it go at this point. It's working better than what it was. It seems to be fairly reliable, and it works flawlessly with regular CDs. CDRs are a little iffy, but that's to be expected with these old drives. So, anyways, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and all of that fun stuff. And until next time, guys, thank you for watching.